Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm pretty good.
Perfect, perfect. So I heard you have some more updates for us. What do you got?
Yeah, today I wanted to actually go over with people how to record your PPP loan. A lot of people have received their PPP funds, and now the next step is what do you do with the money once you receive it? One big part of it is making sure that you would record that information. I'm an advocate for accounting systems to use to actually record it. And if the one nice thing about that loan was the forgiveness, um, a key thing is that it's not automatically forgiven. It's forgiven based on proper documentation that the money was used in the way that it was designated for forgiveness. So you can use an accounting system to actually help you track the loan, track your expenses, and also upload and attach your documentation for the PPP loan. And then when you have to apply for forgiveness, you can simply run a report, um, and the report would have all the attachments that you would need, all your receipts and all your documents that you would need. So everything would just be right there for you. And you'll make your accounting really clean, and that should make the forgiveness go through really easily.
Wow, that's amazing. So are you gonna walk us through some of the details in that?
I will. I will walk you through some of the details of it. And the other reason it's really important is they're saying that they could come back and audit you at any given time to make sure that the forgiveness, that the charges were valid, and also with the safe harbor rules that the loan was necessary, right? So right now it's really important for people to have their books clean. Um, and you want to be able to keep that paperwork for years. They're saying 3 to 6 years that you need to have the documentation in order. They
Wow,
could come back, 5 years from now and say, I want to see the receipts and I want to see how your business was doing back in 2020 that made it so you took out this PPP loan. So
wow. And is that for every PPP loan or a loan under a certain amount?
with the new safe harbor rules, which they actually published the latest update last night, with the new safe harbor rules, they're saying all PPP loans of $2 million or more are going to be audited. And originally they had said that other loans may be audited, but just with the manpower that it's going to take to audit all of those people, they're saying for sure the $2 million or more loans, but possibly any other loan. So the way that I do my accounting is I always tell people, be prepared for an audit. So you don't want to be scrambling once an audit comes. You just want to, if an auditor walks in, you just want to have your paperwork ready and they ask you for something and it's there. Um, Audit shouldn't be something you're scared of. Audit should be something that you're always prepared for.
Wow,
Yeah, big companies are always audited. They have internal auditors to prepare for outside audits. And publicly traded companies are audited every year. There's a lot of companies that audits are required in order for them to function. So I want all of our businesses to be prepared for an audit, just like the big Fortune 500 companies.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. So you should really welcome an audit as a small business than more than dread it, right?
Yeah, people pay millions of dollars to have their businesses audited just to show that their business is running right. So and the audit looks at your financials, but it also looks at how your business is running.
Right.
You're in control, your internal controls, the risk factors associated with how you're doing your business. That's where having an accounting system becomes really, really important,
Mm.
because it will show, not only it shows your workflow of how you're doing it as well as the numbers, right? Your workflow. I'm going to show you today the proper workflow of recording a liability. A liability, that's what that loan is. Right now, the money is not yours. It's still a liability to your company, because if it's not forgiven, your company is going to have to pay it back. Okay. So when you first bring in your loan, you record it as a liability. If your loan's forgiven, then the forgiven portion is no longer a liability, and that now becomes an asset. It would become a grant. It would become money that you would record as, we received a grant from the government. But
Right.
until it's forgiven, it's a liability that sits on your books as a liability.
Wow.
So I'm going to go through that with you, as well as I'm going to go through how you would record those expenses and how you can use tools such as classifications to record all your expenses, and then run a report that will show all your expenses, and then also how you would be able to attach receipts or other documents to those expenses.
Wow.
And so we'll go over that.
Perfect. I'm
And
ready.
this is just going to be a snapshot of it. I'm actually planning on doing a class, to help a lot of business owners, because right now business is slow for a lot of people. So
Right.
I can't think of a better time to actually get yourself on some type of computerized system.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to show you this so people can also see a lot of the tools
Okay.
and how it can make life a lot easier for you as a business owner.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
All right. So I want to start off by just showing you one really nice thing that they have. I use QuickBooks. I'm a certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor. So I use QuickBooks as my platform that I use with my clients. Now with QuickBooks, they have a test drive file that you can use. So it's an active QuickBooks file. They have information in there. You can use it. And this is a really good place to go in if you're trying to figure out how to do something without messing up your books. Okay. Because this is their playground. So you can
Right.
go in here. So we're going to use their playground to book this so that we're not messing up anyone's books.
Right.
So I'm going to put test drive QBO. And it comes up right here. And it says test drive QuickBooks Online. You just certify that you're not a robot. And you bring it up. Now, QuickBooks is most compatible with the Google Chrome system.
Okay.
So the Google Chrome browser is the most compatible for it. And I pulled up my screen in incognito, and that helps it so it doesn't clash with anything else that I have going on. It's really nice because you're doing it in a browser, so you can open multiple screens and have multiple things up. That's how I like to do my accounting. So I'm gonna pull up another screen. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm actually just gonna copy this address and pull it up here. I also have shortcuts in here, but so I'm pulling up multiple screens so we can have different things going on and we can jump back and forth. I wanted to show you guys how you could do it. So when I do things like this, especially when I'm learning, I like to see if it's doing what I want it to do in my financial records. So in one screen, I'm going to pull up a balance sheet because that's where you're going to have your, you're going to see the liability book. And then in another screen, I'm going to pull up a profit and loss because that's where you're going to see your expenses booked. So we can just go back and forth to those reports and see what the changes that we're doing are, how they're affecting our financial records.
Got it.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up right now. I'm just going to set this up. So I'm going to pull up I'm going to go into my report screen and I'm going to pull up a balance sheet. Your balance sheets, you always want to run it all dates.
And why would you want to run it all dates, just to have all the information? Or?
Because a balance sheet is supposed to tell you your company's position at a given date and time. And so right now I'm running it all dates so I can see everything to date. Okay. You don't want to run a balance sheet, like you wouldn't run a balance sheet for this year because you would want to capture all, even if you had, if you purchased a piece of land 5 years ago, you want that to show. So you want to capture everything, that all of your company's assets, all of your company's liability, all the equity in your company. So you run that for a period, like an all date snapshot. When I run my profit and loss or my income statement, I'm going to run that for a specific period of time.
Okay.
Okay. So when I go to run my profit and loss, like you would say, oh, what is my income? What is my profit and loss for this month or this quarter or last quarter or last year? So you're going to just look at the revenue and expenses for a given period of time.
Okay.
And then for your balance sheet, you would, like, if you were taking an accounting 101, they would say, like, this is my balance sheet as of this date. And then you would say, this is my profit loss for this period from this start date to this end date. So
Okay.
we'll look at the profit and loss for this year, and we'll look at the balance sheet of all dates. Okay.
Got it.
Now we have those two things set up. So as we do things, they should show the changes.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to book the loan. So we're going to say that we received a PPP loan for $25,000.
Okay.
All right. And give me one moment, because you know what? My tools aren't in here. Hold on. So I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to go to journal entry. I usually work on an accountant version, so we have a little cheat sheet. We have a drop down that has more things than the regular version. This is a test drive, and this is a test drive of QuickBooks Online Advanced. So that's the version that you test drive when you test drive this. Okay, so we're going to put a journal entry in order to record this. We're going to say we received $25,000. So we're going to receive $25,000 to our checking account.
Okay.
And
so you put it in debits, under debit,
right,
under credits.
Right. So a debit would increase your asset account, and a credit's going to increase your liability account.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So so I'm going to put 25. We're going to have $25,000 going into our checking. So I'm recording that. And then we're going to have a $25,000 liability now. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to add a new account for that. So we're going to be able to go in here and add a new account. The account type, it's going to be a long-term liability. And we're going to do PPP loan payable. Okay. And so it's a long-term liability because the term of that loan is 2 years, right? The PPP loan is you have 2 years to pay it back at 1% interest. If you have a liability, if you have a loan that is less than a year, then it's going to be a short-term liability. If the term on that loan is more than a year, then it's a long-term liability. I try to say it like and the long terms are called notes. So if you think about it, when we were kids, like your parents would say, oh, I need to pay my car note, right? Because you usually pay your car over more than a year. My house note, you know what I mean? So those are notes payables. Those are long-term liabilities, okay? So that's how I always think about it. Like, you know, your parents always talk about, oh, my house note, my car note.
Right.
Those are long-term. So those are notes payables.
Interesting.
Okay. I try to break it down to like, how did I learn this when I learned this like 15 years ago? So, okay. And so we're gonna put this in here. So we're gonna put in we're gonna record the money coming in and the money coming out. Before I save this, let me show you the balance sheet. Our checking right here is $1,210, right? So we're going to hit that account. And then in our liability accounts, we're going to go here under long-term liabilities, and we just have 25,000. So when I put this journal entry in, those numbers should change.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to save and close it. Okay. You see how now your checking has 26,000?
Right.
210,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a notes payable, and now you have a PPP loans payable.
Wow.
Okay. So now you've recorded the money, the extra money coming into your bank account, and you've recorded the fact that you could possibly owe $25,000 in a liability.
Okay.
Okay. So this is this shows your assets. The balance sheet shows your assets,
Mm-hmm.
and then your liabilities and your equity. And then it's called a balance sheet because if you look right here, this line, the total assets of $48,436
Mm-hmm.
equals the total amount of your liabilities and equities, $48,436. So it always balances.
Nice.
In our accounting, we do double entry accounting. We always have a debit and a credit, and they always have to balance. So your balance sheet always balances. Okay, so
That makes sense.
that's a little accounting 101, and that's how you would record your PPP.
Perfect.
But if in QuickBooks, you don't have to think about it. I did it that way because I was recording it as a journal entry.
Okay.
If it came through, that's because I don't have a bank feed in here that would show it coming in. But you can record your bank feed. You can link your bank to your QuickBooks, and it automatically brings in all your transactions.
Wow.
And that's in the banking tab here. So this is like right here, this is the checking account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so right here in the checking account, if I were to come in here and say, for example, I had a deposit come in, and this deposit says this was the PPP. When I open this up, I could have just went in here. Say I get a second round of PPP, because they did also authorize second round PPPs this week, being that like in the beginning they said partnerships couldn't, the partners couldn't apply for a PPP through the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed the ruling on that, and they said a partners could apply for a PPP through the business for their own pay.
Okay.
So now, say you receive that 25,000, but you're a partner in the business, and you didn't report your income. You just reported all your employees' income. Now with the new ruling, you apply for that extra money for yourself. When that extra money comes in, you can record that. Let me see if I can find a number that would be good. So let's just say this deposit that comes in, it is $868.15. See if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. Say this is the second round of your PPP. That's the extra money they gave you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to come in here. I'm going to open this up. Okay. I'm going to go back. So I'm going to backtrack, but you see it came in through my bank.
Right.
Let me go back. That one has a bunch of things on it. Sorry, because this is here. Let me actually do this one. This uncategorized income. Okay. So this is income. It's uncategorized income. I'm going to put for my vendor, I mean, I could do, let's say if you did it through the place where I go. I use Cross River Bank. Okay.
Nice.
So that's where I've been getting my loans. So what I'm going to do now is we already set up that liability account, right?
Right.
So I could be able to put PPP, and this is also, so I'm going to add this to the loan. So when I started typing in PPP, it drops up everything that has a P in it. If I put another P, it's going to pull this up. So now I just add it. So if I go back into, oh, I think I did this in the wrong tab. Give me a moment. Let me pull back up my report. If I go back to my balance sheet, I will see now there's an extra $200 on that. So now when I go down here, now it's $25,200. Okay. So you can either do it through a journal entry if you don't have your bank feed. And if you have your bank feed, you just go into the transaction and you assign the account. When you go into the bank feed, okay, the journal entries, I worked in accounting for 7 years before I learned how to do a journal entry, because I started off as an accounts payable clerk, an accounts receivable clerk, a payroll clerk. I had no idea what the head accountants were doing, right?
Right.
I knew that they would ask me for stuff for journal entries, but I didn't know what they were doing. Journal entries are kind of complex. The thing is that in order, as an accountant, we learn how to do journal entries when we're in school. But in the system, you can see it already, it did the journal entry for me.
Right.
It did the journal entry for me. All I did was say what a loan, it increased this by $200, and it increased this by $200. So the accounting system does the journal entry for you.
Nice.
Okay. And you just have to think, we already know that this is true. If I buy a car, an asset is something that you have of value. If you buy a car for $5,000, you now have an asset here, like this truck, you now have an asset of $5,000, right? And if you have a car note, you're going to have a bill of $5,000.
Right.
So we know this. Accounting is what we do every day. But if you're not using an accounting system, you're either just recording the car, but you're not recording the bill, or you're recording, the money that you're paying, and you're not recording the car in the bill. It's not a full picture of what's going on. Accounting gives you a full picture of what's going on. Okay. So with that same analogy, now we're going to record what happens when you start paying these bills. So we have balance sheet, profit and loss. So now we're going to enter in some expenses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of these expenses and act like they are expenses for the PPP.
Okay.
So I have right here uncategorized expense, this A rental. We're going to act like this expense is, I don't know, a SMUD bill. So I'm going to add SMUD as a vendor. Okay. And for this, we're going to say it's a utility, and it's gas and electric. Okay. And let me go and activate something, because what we want to do is we want to classify this as this is part of our forgivable PPP transactions, right? For the loan forgiveness for PPP, 75% needs to be for payroll, and then the other 25%, it needs to be for rent, utilities, interest portion of your mortgage, right?
Right.
So now we're going to classify any of those transactions that come through as either as forgivable expenses. So I'm going to turn on my class feature. I'm going to go to my settings, my account settings, advanced. I'm going to go right here where it says track classes. I'm going to turn that feature on, and I'm going to classify it. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to save that. When I opened up that transaction, it didn't have the box for me to have classes. So I'm going to open that transaction again. But we're going to say this is SMUD. See, I start typing it in, it pops it up. And we're going to say it's utilities, gas and electric. And the class, now we're going to enter a new class. So I'm going to say PPP. I think I was doing them as CARES Act PPP. Okay. So I'm going to put it as a CARES Act PPP class. So I'm going to put this in as CARES Act PPP. It's a SMUD bill, $1,200. In the memo, maybe I'll say April and May bill. Okay. And then right here where it says add attachment, I can add an attachment. It's going to pull up. It's going to pull up my, my files. So I'm just going to attach something on there. This is where you would have your bill. You would scan your bill and bring it into your system.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm just going to attach this. This is from the SBA. I'm going to attach this on here. Okay. So now I can save it. So you have your transaction, the amount, you're classifying it as a forgivable expense, and you're adding your backup documentation to it. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this next one. Now, because I just did this transaction for SMUD and it said a rental, it's automatically pulling the next one and classifying it. Okay, because it's really smart. There's like an AI behind the system. So the next one automatically, because the description was the same, it automatically assigned it and assigned the name and also the account.
Wow.
Okay, so eventually it gets really fast when you're doing this. It
Right.
gets really fast.
Okay.
But we're gonna say no, this is not, because you see the bank detail, it has the same bank detail right here, which it pulls from the bank. So it automatically categorized it the exact same.
Okay.
So let's just say, yeah, this is for June. And we're gonna say that's for June, SMUD, and we're gonna add it. And now it's asking me, every single time something comes in with a rental, do you want me to automatically say it's SMUD, CARES Act, and automatically add it? I could say yes. Now it'll automatically do it for me.
Wow.
I don't have to do that transaction anymore. Okay.
Wow.
Let's see if we can find anything else we can add. Here's another expense. I want to show how you can do another one. Let's say that was a utility. We can say this is payroll. We'll leave it with Mahoney Mugs. Let's say that's one of our employees. And let me start typing it in. Okay, they don't have payroll. Okay, so I'm going to add it in here as an expense.
Nice.
When I go to my expense, I'm going to say payroll expense, payroll. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So we're adding a new class for payroll. They didn't have it in the system already. And then in a class, we're going to do CARES Act, and we can say week of 5/10/2020 as it, and then right here you would want to add maybe their time card or add your payroll report, right? So we'll add another attachment, and we're going to add that to our books. And let's see if we can find anything else. Let's do this one right here. Now, say this is for me. I'm going to say it's for me. I'm the owner of this company. And this is another thing I really want people to know. I'm going to put myself down as an employee, save. Okay. Now for my pay doesn't go to a payroll account. It's going to go to an owner's draw, because I have a single member LLC. So that's where my expenses go into owner's draw. My expenses will show up on the balance sheet. Let me see if the account is in here already. I don't know this, like this is their trial area. So I'm looking here in the equity section. It's not here. So we're going to add it. And this is going to be, come on, what are you doing? We're going to go equity. Owner's equity. We'll do. Okay. So we're going to put an equity. We're going to put owner's draw. So remember, when you're paying yourself through your company, not on payroll, it's owner's draw. Okay. And we're going to classify that. Something is going on. Give me a moment. Oh. Okay. Owner's draw. CARES Act. Okay. We're going to add this. Oh, no, wait. I'm going to add an attachment. And this is the other thing, is that it's very important for people to go in and make sure that they are writing themselves a check. So I know a lot of business owners, they actually will take out withdrawals. So if they have, they're like, it's my business, it's my money. That's like a lot of the mind frame behind people. They're like, it's my business, it's my money.
Right.
It's true, but you still need to pay yourself.
Yes.
Don't pay yourself through transactions, pay yourself on a paycheck. What I
Mm.
always tell people is they're like, well, people are like, I can't afford that. And I'm like, yes, I can. Yes, you can. I've just looked at your bank statement. You have 9 pages of transactions. You had $15,000 come out of your bank account this month. You don't have any employees. You know what I mean? So you can afford to pay yourself. Let's look at how much of that is actually money that's for the business. Everything else that's left over, that's what you're spending on yourself. And let's pay yourself. So if you're averaging $2,000 a week in personal transactions, Starbucks, okay, I need to go get some new shoes. Oh, I need to go get my hair done. Oh, I go out to eat every day for lunch. Instead of running that on your card, write yourself a check for $2,000 and then use your personal checking account to run all those transactions. You need to pay yourself a paycheck just as if you had a job. You do not want to turn in your financial records to someone. Like I said, we're always preparing for an audit. Do you want the auditor to know where your favorite restaurant is? Do you want the auditor to know all of your business? If you are doing all of your transactions through the same bank account that you do your business with, and you're called for an audit, they're going to have all your business.
Wow.
They're going to know everything that you do.
Makes sense.
Right? There's things that you might not want them to know that you're doing.
Right.
Okay. And it also, if you have an LLC or an S corp, there's a thing called, like, people say, like, breaking the corporate veil. The reason that you have it is for the liability towards it limits the liability, your personal liability for your business action. If you are commingling your funds, if you are using your business funds, mixing your business and your personal, then now you've opened yourself up for that personal liability for your business. So right now, it's very important that you pay yourself a check. If you are going to put yourself down as one of the people who's receiving a PPP, you need to pay yourself a check, because they also want copies of voided checks. So they put out some paperwork, and let me get the exact wording. It says, borrowers will obtain the borrowers will obtain itemized receipts, paid invoices, or canceled checks and contracts for all loan funds spent, and retain these items for 3 years from the date of final disbursement. They want canceled checks.
Right.
And so that's going to be the only way that you're going to prove that you use that PPP fund for qualified payroll expenses, is if you write yourself a check. Right.
Wow. Right.
And so that's what you need to do for forgiveness. Now, let me show you what that did. Right? We put all that in. Now I'm going to go to my profit and loss. We're going to refresh this page. I know that there's a training going on, and this is like I said, this is an open thing, so it's acting up a little bit. But now we should have in here, like, we have payroll. We have a payroll category now, right?
Right.
And we have our utilities. So if I go here to payroll, if I go to utilities, I'm going to be able to click on this number and pull it up. And you'll see it, what I just put in here. Like the SMUD, here's SMUD June, and then I did SMUD April and May. Okay. So it's in the profit and loss, but we're gonna run a customized profit and loss. So I'm gonna do a profit and loss by class. Okay. Now here's the CARES Act PPP column. And you'll see that the transactions that we coded as CARES Act show up here. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to customize it, and I'm actually going to get rid of the other column because I just want to see that. Sorry. And I'm going to go to the class, and I'm going to select the CARES Act PPP class, run this report. I'm going to save it. As a CARES Act PPP profit and loss. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. Go back. Sorry. I'm going to share it with none. It's not letting me do this. Okay. So now you see this report. I can run this report. If I put another transaction in, another expense, if you look at this report, right, we're at $2,018. Let's put one more expense in. We're just going to say this is a telephone expense, and we'll say CARES Act PPP. Add it. We'll go back here. We can go into reports from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I go into my custom reports. Here's my CARES Act PPP profit or loss that I created, right?
Right.
And here we go. I just added that telephone. So as I'm adding expenses, I can run this report.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can say, okay, this $2,042.42, that's how much I have. Oh, how much was my PPP again? Go back to my balance sheet and say on my PPP, 25,000. So then I would just be able to say like, okay, so of the 25,000, I already have $2,000, you know, that could be forgivable. And it lets me know, keeps me on track of what I'm doing.
Right.
And then if we open this up and we refresh this screen, we can display this by class as well. CARES Act PPP shows up, and here's my owner's draw of $666. Remember, I said your owner's draw shows up on the balance sheet.
Right.
Okay. So,
and real quick, was that owner's draw? That was what you drew. What you drew
when
out?
I'm paying myself.
Okay. Off of a check.
On a check, because I wrote myself a check, right? Okay. So, right here, if you look at this column, because people that sat in on our last call that we did on Saturday, I was like, what's the most important statement? And I said it was the balance sheet. Mm-hmm. And I told you your bottom line from your profit and loss moves over to your balance sheet. Mm-hmm. So here's your net income, right? Mm-hmm. From this report right here, this $2,042.46. Mm-hmm. It shows up on your balance sheet. It's one of your line items on your balance sheet, plus your owner's draw will give you your total.
Okay.
Okay. So this right here, you've used $2,708 mm-hmm. of your PPP funds. And then when you find out what's forgiven, you're going to back that out. And whatever is remaining is going to sit in here as a liability. That's pretty much how you do it. But when we get to that point, I will do another video showing people what to do once you find out what's forgiven.
Okay.
But that's like a little bit of how you would record it, 101, as well as the accounting behind it, the idea of what you're doing.
Nice.
Because most people, I think, are watching this, they don't know the basic accounting, because that's what I'm trying to do, is get some accounting knowledge out there. And also just so you can see how easy it is. If I go and click on here, mm-hmm. if I click on this $666, mm-hmm. it's going to open up the report. I click on it again. It tells me it was a check for myself, Idara Phillips, owner's draw. I click on the transaction. It's going to pull that transaction. Right here are my attachments. I click on the attachment, and it's going to show me what I attached.
Right.
And then when they want that documentation, if they say, show me a list of transactions, you print the report, show me the transactions, you just go into each transaction and print out the documentation.
Wow.
It's right there.
Perfect. Easy.
Right. Yeah. So, and it works for this, and it works for a lot of other things, like tax time. You can just add your tax person onto your file, mm-hmm. and they can come in here and pull everything that they need, but you don't have to give them anything.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you add your account. You can give access to anyone. You give someone a user privilege, mm-hmm. and you would like add a user, add someone, or you can add a firm, an accounting firm, and you would invite your accountant in. You can invite people in, a lot of people that are in the accounting profession. we have accounts set up. So you would just type in my email and then I would have access and I can pull all the records. I can pull the reports. I can pull your receipts. I can put it together for you.
Wow, that's super easy and super convenient.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Is there any questions that you had about that or?
No, that was actually very thorough. Like you said, I just can't wait until, they actually come out with the guidelines of how to be forgiven, but you giving everybody a sort of a vanilla structure on using common sense on how to be forgiven. So really, I don't see how they could really venture out of the lines of the structure that you just set.
Yeah, and there's like one other thing that I put together. Let me see if I can show it to you really quickly.
Okay.
And it's like I put this together in Excel. And let me find it. Give me a moment. You know what? Let me pull it up from my email because I emailed this to someone. We can go back. Oh, did I close those screens? No. All right. We could go back in there and we can actually run a report and we can, I'll show you something else that I made.
Okay.
So, there's also the guidelines of the 75-25%. They are working on changing that. There's a new CARES Act that's supposed to be coming out, and they are requesting that the 75-25 be looked at again, as well as like the retention and the head count. I think I mentioned, I'm not sure if the last time we talked, that they're saying now if with the unemployment having the extra $600, a lot of people don't want to go back to work. So if you put, if you're gonna, rehire your employees back after you receive the PPP, then you can, you send them a letter in writing saying, you received your job back. We're gonna put you back on payroll. Your pay, and then you have to give them the same pay that they were receiving before.
Mm-hmm.
And if they refuse it, then they need to refuse it in writing. Then you won't be held liable for that. Okay. That's a new rule that came out.
That's very interesting.
And so that's like one of the things, because your PPP forgiveness is based on what you use the money for, right? The 25% of rent, utilities, mortgage, portion of interest. And then also it's based on the fact that you don't reduce anyone's pay by more than 25%. And then finally, it's based on the fact that you maintain the same head count.
Mm.
Okay. So
Okay.
there's a few things that we're looking at. Now, I am and they're also trying to change the date because the original wording says that if everything's due by, it said the original wording says that everything's due by 6:30, but then, they did the whole second round. People still are applying. There's some people that, by 6:30, they will have had their 8 weeks, but there's a lot of people who won't. So they need to change some of the laws and the rules. So we're just waiting for more information. I'm pulling up a spreadsheet for you.
Okay.
That I put together. This is a simplified version because I don't work with really huge companies right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of my clients don't really need a lot of, they don't need a lot of stuff in here to confuse them. So I tried to make a simplified version of a payroll PPP tracker.
Mm.
So let me show it to you.
Nice.
I'm going to show you this screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So on here, I have a PPP tracker. We're going to go back and pull those reports again. So let's just pull our CARES Act PPP. Oh, this is the profit and loss. We want the balance sheet. Come on, QuickBooks. This is not us. This is the internet. Give me a moment. Come on, QuickBooks. There we go. I don't know what's happening on that other page. All right, we're going to look at it by classes. And I can actually save this one too. So I don't have to do that every time.
Right.
But so right here, we're going to start to track it in this tracker right here. Okay. So we're going to say the total loan amount. So we're going to go here to our PPP loan payable. And it was this amount right here, $25,200. So we're going to enter that number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so right here, it automatically, when I put it in, it does the breakdown. 75% is 18,900. That's how much I could need to spend on payroll at least. And then I can't spend more than 6,300 on rent, utilities, etc. Okay. Wow. That breaks down your 75-25 breakdown. And now, oh, hey, I spelled this wrong. Now we're going to put in our head count. Say it's just me. It's just me, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm working now and I'm working. So it's going to be 100% retention because it's just me. Now we're going to go into payroll. So, or actually what we had two people, right? We did payroll and we did owner's draw. So let's pull that up. So for my owner's draw, I would just I would go into my payroll category and I would say Idara, and I could actually open this up. And it's on 4/3. And the amount of it is $666. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I could go in here, my net income, and payroll is $18.08. And that's Mahoney. And that's on 4/12. And that was $18.08. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as you see, as I'm entering in the transactions, it's adding them here. And it's giving me amount that I still have available to spend, and it's telling me how much I've spent. Mm. Okay. This is a tracker, so you can track it. So the next one would be like your gas and electric, $2,000. It's SMUD. So I would go under utilities, and I would put SMUD. The first one's $800. And that date is 4/21. The next one is going to be for SMUD. This is going to be $1,200. And the date on this one is 5/14. Okay, so now look, it's changed, right? Right. So the rent utilities, we've done 2,000. Your payroll, you've done this much. So from your rent utilities, because it has the breakdown of what it is, you still have $4,300 in rent utilities. You still have $18,000 in payroll that you can do. Okay. And then we have one more thing. We have this phone bill. So phone also goes under rent utilities. And that phone bill is on 3/31. Okay, so now I've entered all the information from the report into my tracker.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can say of my total loan amount, I still have $22,491 available to spend.
Mm-hmm.
I have $18,215.92 left to spend in payroll, $4,275.62 left to pay in rent and utilities. Okay. And this is the transactions. And then these all tie back to my report. And the thing is too, if the head count changes, so say my one worker quits, it's like, I don't want to come back, I'm staying on unemployment, then my head count changes. So now only 50% of it's forgivable.
Mm.
And your numbers change. So this is your forgivable amount based on head count right here. So this is the split, this is the retention, and this is the head count and the pay. Okay, so it'll change because it changes based on a number of things. So I've put this together.
That
This
is
is like
awesome.
This is my little worksheet that I'm going to be using. And so I just wanted to show you that, to show you how having your information in QuickBooks also makes it very easy to do something like this.
Right. Is that
Right?
going to be, is that something that you're personally using? Or is
Yeah.
that going to be, okay.
I give away all my secrets.
Got it.
Hey, that's what I mean. That's what people hire accountants for, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Because I made that when I was on a call with someone just like this. And I was trying to explain to him. I said, let me show it to you in a spreadsheet. And I just started typing away. And he's like, you just made that while we were on the phone. I was like, yeah.
That's awesome. That's pretty awesome.
So.
Okay.
So yeah. Maybe I'll go over, we can do one on how to make one. If people want to do it, they're going to have to do some work.
Another video. Yes. Because I think that would be, yeah. Or to really just make it easier, you guys can visit Zip Business Services LLC, or what is it? Zipbs.com.
Yep.
For
so yeah.
free resources.
Yeah, so I mean, this is what I do. If this is like something that you're looking at it, you're like, that looks awesome, but I don't want to learn how to do that, hire an accountant. I went to school for business, so you don't have to learn it.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much, I mean, that's it. I just want to show people what you need to do, because everyone wants this loan because it's forgivable, but if you're not doing the right things, it's not forgivable. If your paperwork's not in order, it's not forgivable. If you're not tracking it right, it's not forgivable. And you also want to know, like, if you know that you're not getting those numbers, like this little tracker we did, it showed $18,000 in payroll still. If you know that it's not going to be forgiven, then you need to actually start making plans of how am I going to pay this loan back in 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, and you could do the same thing for the EIDL.
Okay.
That's just how you would record any transaction. That's how you would record any liability. You can use those features for anything. That's the other thing that we do is, like, I'm always taking classes on different ways you can use these features to make your life easier. So I just kind of have them in my head. I'm like, oh, there's this feature that'll make this really easy. So
right.
I just want to share some of the stuff with you guys.
Perfect. And you said you will be doing some training classes coming up.
Yes, I am putting together a workshop, and it's going to be about like a 2-day workshop. I don't want to overload people's brains in one day,
right?
But it's going to be a 2-day workshop, and we're going to go over a lot of the basics of QuickBooks. And I throw a lot of basic accounting in there just so you should know. We'll go over how to set up your QuickBooks, how to enter basic expenses, how to enter basic income, how to integrate your apps, how to integrate third-party apps, like how to integrate your banking, how to integrate PayPal, Square, things like that. So you don't have to type all those transactions in. They actually could just feed in. We'll go over how to set up the recurring transactions so that QuickBooks actually sees them, matches them, or can automatically record them. And then I'll go over, just for business owners, how to read a financial statement, right? So when you have your statements, what are you actually looking at? So I want to do that over 2 days. I'm trying to get a really good discount, or trying to work with Intuit to see if we can get some discounted rates on QuickBooks. So I'm trying to get, I'm teaching QuickBooks. So I would like everyone to have QuickBooks for their business, so
Mm-hmm.
that all the things that you learn, you can start to apply them in your own business.
Right.
So I do have a QuickBooks rep that I'm working with, and he's actually might be coming on and talking to people and offering some discounts. So we'll probably kick it off with that, so people can get signed up for QuickBooks if they like. And then, maybe even do it over 3 days. The next day we'll start getting into really the setup. And then the next day we'll get into the nitty gritty of how to record all this stuff and how to read your financials. And that way people can really start working on it. So when the world opens back up and your business is back up, or your business increases, that you can actually have really good records of what's going on in your business. If you want to go out and the next time you need to apply for a loan, you can run a report.
Right.
I found out that with QuickBooks, when the PPPs, if you had QuickBooks, because QuickBooks is doing PPP loans, because QuickBooks Capital is doing PPP loans. All you had to do was apply. You didn't even have to do any paperwork. They pulled it out of your QuickBooks.
Wow. That's very convenient.
So it took minutes to do it through them, because they would have had all your data. They would have had all your information.
Right.
Give me one second. Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Working at home during COVID-19.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of perks to using this system.
Right.
Give me one moment.
No problem.
Okay, cool. So no, but it's overall, it's just, I want to get this tool out there. There's so much that you can do. You can really keep your business organized.
Mm-hmm.
You can print checks. You could take payments over, you could take payments on your phone. You could snap pictures. I mean, there's so much you can do. So I want to really teach people about all the features and just how it can make your life so much easier. It'll simplify your life as a business owner. I don't know if you've seen all the commercials that Intuit has out right now. Some of them are really corny, I think, but it's really true. It simplifies your life. I mean, it's so much easier. Technology is made accounting, it's made bookkeeping very user friendly for owners. The only time when you need it, I always want people to have an accountant, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I went to school for. So I always want people to have an accountant, but if you don't have an accountant, at least have an accounting software.
Right.
If you can't afford an accountant or a bookkeeper, at least get the software and invest a little bit of time in yourself and in your business to learn some of the basics of how to use it. It'll make life easier. I mean, even at tax time, your tax person will love you if you come in with a software package or a balance sheet and a profit and loss versus a shoebox full of receipts. Like, they'll help you. It'll also lower your bill because it's not going to take as much time. Right. So, and if you want to go in and get a loan, if you want to try to get an investor, if you want to try to get in a partner, that's what people want to see. They want to see your financials.
Right.
They want to see that your business is organized.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, it's definitely been another knowledge-filled video. I look forward to you doing your classes. Like I said, I'm going to sign up. Everybody, make sure you visit zipbs.com, right? Will you be having updates on zipbs.com about when your class is coming, or where can we?
Yes, I'm going to have updates on there, and I'm going to have a link to the actual registration site. Perfect. So it'll be on my website. You look for the tab that says classes. It should be up by this weekend. So I'm trying to get it up in the next day or two. And I might have a couple of guest speakers, which is what I'm working on. So yeah, I'm trying to get a couple of guest speakers in there to help, just with some more financial information, maybe a tax planner, maybe someone on investing some of the money. So I'm trying to get some other stuff into it. and just collaborating with other people. So I'm really just trying to get some information out there, because the recovery from COVID-19 is going to take a while.
Absolutely.
And we all need to be prepared, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. I mean, they're coming out with a second round of, or what, a fourth round of CARES Act. So what are you going to need to qualify for that? What if there's more money? What if this last, it comes back and it's just as bad and you have to apply for your programs again? I'm trying to get everyone prepared for anything that's might happen. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we thank you, Idara, and we thank you for the information, and we look forward to your next video.
Oh, thank you.